Hi, my name's Roger Sunderland, and this is my layout, Stanicliffe, which is a respelling of Stanicliffe, which is an actual place in West Yorkshire, close by to Dewsbury and Batley. The layout's 4mm scale to the foot, and it's DCC operated using Digitrax equipment. The reason for calling the layout Stanicliffe is because I didn't want to portray an actual situation in West Yorkshire, because I live a long way from it, and getting all the details would have been quite difficult. So I approximated it, and the reason for choosing West Yorkshire as a prototype is because it's what I remember as a child. My father had a factory somewhere near Halifax, and I used to spend a lot of time, particularly during the school holidays, train spotting and being with him at work. The rolling stock on the layout is a mixture of proprietary and kit built. I'm very keen on kit building, and where possible I've managed to do that. So approximately 30-40% of the locomotives are built from kits, mostly DJH, PDK, those sorts of brands. The rest of it is proprietary, and it's DCC, as I said before, which means that I've been able to put sound in quite a few locomotives as well. The buildings on the layout, of which there are an awful lot, are mostly scratch built using foam board, not the very thin foam board, but a type used in sign making, clad with plastic card. Some of the main factory buildings are the excellent JS Models kits, and a couple of Skytrex kits as well. Some of the buildings in the town area are also anglicised versions of Keebury kits, including the large church. The inspiration for the station is, and clearly a lot of people would recognise this, is Dewsbury Midland, which is one of my favourite exhibition layouts. But the rest of the track work is my own design, and certainly the area round about the station is cobbled together mostly from memory of my time spent in West Yorkshire. I'm particularly proud of the working signals on the layout, which are all scratch built, mostly from MSC, Allen Gibson parts, and they take a lot of time to construct. The signals as well are backlit so that they shine through the lenses, and this took a long time to do, but I think it's well worth it. The layout's in my garage at home, and it's about 17 foot, just over 17 foot in length by 12 foot wide. I'd love a bigger space, but I haven't got one, so I have to make do with what I've got. It does restrict what you can do, and I think one of the things that I would always caution people is don't try and fill the layout with track. Just try and make it look as realistic as possible. You'll notice that the layout is on two different levels, and I think that gives much more appeal to the layout than having it on a single flat level. I like the idea of the trains being above the houses, above the roads. Gives it a much more realistic feel, I think, than the usual sort of flat baseboard approach. And this is probably only the second time that I've actually done a different level layout. The layout is run to a sequence which involves the use of 13 tracks in the fiddle yard, and it takes about an hour and a half to run through one full sequence. One of the unusual features on the layout is something which I've used on exhibition layouts in the past, which is an automatic uncoupling device, which makes shunting in the yard much more fun. It's a delayed reaction coupler using KDs and a little actuator made by Pressy Models. So I've now reached the venerable age of 70, and I reckon that over the course of my life, since I started modelling when I was about 6, I've probably built around about 200 layouts in total, which seems an awful lot, but I enjoy building layouts. In fact, really the most enjoyable aspect of the hobby for me is building the layouts, building stock, locomotives, coaches, wagons, and track work as well, and signals, rather than actually running the layout. One of the things that I do particularly like is to see stock weathered. I don't like to see anything that comes out of a box. So you'll notice that all the stock is indeed weathered, the locomotives, and even all the buildings and the various paraphernalia around the track work is all weathered down to a degree. The overall objective is to make everything fit into a rather grimy urban landscape. This is my home layout. We do have, along with a group of us, a much larger exhibition layout called Bournemouth West, which has been on the circuit for a number of years. So this layout was actually built while Bournemouth West was being finished and exhibited. For more information about the Bournemouth West layout and any future exhibition layouts that we may be building, you can look on RM Web. There are 2 threads on RM Web. One is the Bournemouth West thread, and the other is a new thread called Bournemouth Central.
Thank you very much, Roger, for your time and for showing me around Stanicliffe.
Okay, pleasure.